Hello everyone, and welcome to another anime episode review. I am the Rat, and this is The Rat's Nest. I'm joined as always by Kyle. Say hi, Kyle.
Hello everyone.
Mushoku Tensei, Season 2, Episode 0. Not 1, Episode 0.
Yeah, there's something to talk about. This episode 0 doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. This was a good episode, methinks.
Perchance.
I would say, I would call it a good episode. So, would you like to just get into it, Kyle? I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of preface needed. This is my favorite series of all time. I very much love Mushoku Tensei. I have read everything there is to do.
Wait, Brandon, what are you doing? You got to reference them to the 2-hour video of discussion before.
Yeah,
before
if you're curious as to Kyle and my thoughts on the entirety of Season 1, go check out our 1-year special, where we talk about Mushoku Tensei for 2.5 hours, which is actually done pretty decent views-wise, Kyle.
Really?
I can tell you more about the analytics after we record. But yes,
yeah.
This is my favorite series of all time. Kyle is experiencing this for the first time, though. Season 2 content. Funny school arc with Volume 7. Volume 7 is
This isn't the school arc!
Dude, what are you talking about, dude? They're literally going to school. Dude, it's literally school arc, bro.
No, you're right.
School arc.
Yeah,
so,
do you want me to just kind of like talk about it? Do you want to like go in order, or like what do you want to do?
I mean, I don't think we gotta hit everything. Let's just.
We'll hit the broad points with the broad strokes. So we just want to get right into it. I can start us off.
So we've never done an anime episode review, so this is kind of.
It's foreign to us. We're manga nerds.
Kind of unformatted. We kind of have our little format for chapter reviews.
I
certainly have my format for light novel reviews.
We can handle it in terms of like 2-hour-long discussion. Clearly, so.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, getting into episode 0, Guardian Fits. I think this was a very interesting. My buzzword there, interesting. Very interesting introduction to season 2. Because it's one of those where we get into it, and we're still like it's like dangling a carrot on a stick. Like you don't get to see Rudeus yet. Like you're so close. You don't get to see him just yet. There's a little bit to show. I like how the beginning of this further emphasizes just how absolutely insane the mana calamity was, or catastrophe, or whatever it's called. Yeah. Just like you could just get spawned, because Brandon clarified this to me in our last discussion of like Rudeus and Eris, they fell from the sky. Like multiple people just like a lot of people were spawned underwater. They were spawned up high. Their Minecraft coordinate spawn locations weren't set correctly. Many people died just from like the fall or initial summon alone. Yeah, and I thought it was cool seeing the scenes of a Sylphy flying through the air, freaking out, just juxtaposed with like this courtyard scene. And interesting coincidence lined up here. You know, a lot of things happen through coincidence, and I found this one to be a very cool coincidence where it's just Princess Ariel talking with some of the people in her courtyard about like trying. What was it? They're talking about like how. Oh yeah, Derek says like Ariel's gonna like rule over the throne one day. And she's like,
initially. They're discussing, Ariel and Luke are discussing their favorite kind of nipples.
Yeah, so anyway, they start talking about
that's what they're discussing. They're discussing their favorite kind of nipples. And then Derek Redbat, her courtmate, which I assume will learn more about. The funny Mushoku Tensei fans, as I've seen, were like, they should have given him more screen time. I kind of agree. But this isn't Ariel's story yet. This is Sylphy's introduction. I assume we'll get back to this scene with Ariel later.
What was the guy's name? Derek what?
Derek Redbat.
Yeah, more like Eric Red Dead because he's dead.
That's so true. You know, and then he's like, Ariel, you need to, you shouldn't be talking. That's kind of vulgar and stuff. He's like, you should be planning to take the throne one day. And she's like, look, she said, I'm the second princess, right? I got 2 older brothers and an older sister. She said, I'm not doing nothing. She said, I'm just going to live my life how I want to live it. I'm quite content to just sit here and do nothing, right? And so like I said, I think we'll get back to this scene later on in the series. This is Sylphy's story right here. It's kind of laying the foundations for Ariel's character, right? But and then so then we get to see funny Sylphy falling and freaking out. Her hair turns white, which I can explain, Kyle.
Okay, cool.
This isn't like a big secret whatever thing. It's because of two things: one, the stress, and two, running out of magic. It was a combination of the two, and being a very extreme situation. Also, probably her mana was a bit volatile following the mana calamity. That caused the situation for her hair to turn white.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
They don't explain it in the episode, but that's the reasoning for it.
It's very weird.
It's not some big huge mystery.
It was very weird when that happened. I was like, hey, why the hell did her hair just change?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she, by she I mean Sylphy, like this big creature shows up. I forget like the type of creature it is. It shows up,
just like a
kills
boar.
Big boar thing, kills Derek, and like before it kills Ariel, and like Luke's like defending him, all that. Sylphy just lands in the sky, uses like a wind blast to like make sure she doesn't hit the ground fully, and it just Saint Charles this bitch.
Domes the creature, bro.
Just flatten, just absolutely demolishes the fuck out of this creature and kills it. So that was fun. I thought that was a fun way to have her literally drop into the scene.
Yeah, drop into the story.
And then she wakes up and Air's like, so even though you saved my life, you're caught trespassing. You're either gonna face punishment or serve me. I mean, that's not very literally happened, but like she
didn't
it's like
just say that, Kyle. She also said, "Yeah, your home doesn't exist. We got no clue where anyone you know is, and you're probably going to get executed for trespassing."
I'm so sorry. I forgot to add the important detail of your mom's dead, your dad's dead. That's why your mama dead. That's why your shoes raggedy, and just all the mean insults she could of like, you have nowhere to go. Serve me or be executed. And it's like, well, there's a choice. And then she takes upon the name Fitz, and then later gets the nickname Silent Fitz because she never talks because she was told to never talk. So anyway,
because she's a girl, it sounded kind of sus if she talked.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
According to what Gravel says.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say make a little haha here. According to what Gravel says, women are only important for singing. They can't talk.
That's so true. Well, I actually so the last thing with Sylphy being it's like a nicety from Ariel, you know, because it's like if she didn't do that and she would have been executed. She would have been executed.
I'm more so joking, but like yeah, she did do it to like help her.
Yeah. And then we got the scene with them like in like the little party, right?
Yes.
What do you think of this, Kyle?
I found this to be a very fun scene. Not like fun might not be like the correct buzzword here. I thought it was a cool scene getting introduced to more of like the bigger players here. We got Lord Philemon? Is that his name?
Yeah, it's like Philemon, like.
Didn't we see him?
Past translations are like PHI, like Philemon.
Didn't we already see? You remind me. Where did we see him in season 1? I know we saw him in season 1.
I don't think we saw him, and he was name dropped. It was whenever Saros was executed. Darius and Grabble were there, and so was Sylphy, Luke, and Ariel. We saw them in the background there. I think I pogged whenever I saw them.
I didn't understand
why. We see them there, and Darius and Grabble are there handing down the sentence to Saros, and they're like, Lord Philemon is going to. I guess technically they call him Philemon. I'm going to call him Philemon because that's what I'm used to calling him. Maybe I'll switch over eventually. I don't know. But the official manga and light novel, I think, translated as Philemon. So I don't know. It's one of those weird names, right? There's a character we'll meet later that has a very odd. The manga translates her name so weird. I don't understand it, but they're giving control of the Fatoa territory to Philemon. That's where we quote unquote see him in season 1. Yeah, he gets name dropped.
Yeah. And so, it did a good job setting up like some of the tension between Ariel and Grabble, and how the Grabble like the start of the suspicion of like, okay, she's eventually gonna probably try to overthrow me, and then we get to see the scene with Sylphy freaking out that everyone's like making fun of her, like bad mouthing her, saying mean things, and she's just like she can't handle it and like passes out.
Well, she collapses, and then the guy comes over and is like, "Oh, do you need help, Sir Fitz?" And he's like, "Oh, your hand is quite feminine." And then Sylphy pulls back and she bumps into the dude and he spills this little cup thing. And then everyone's like, "Uh-oh!" But then Ariel starts singing, and she has a pretty good singing voice.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, thank you. My brother wanted to hear me sing." And he's like, "Oh, yes, that was great." And everyone claps. And then
everyone.
So one last thing I want to talk about with this scene is I really liked how they adapted the discussion between Grabble and Ariel. It was interesting. I'd have to look back in the light novel to see.
Look back.
Whoa! I'd have to look back in the light novel to see how that was translated. But I think like I knew what they were saying because I know what the conversation was. But like they cloaked it in metaphors. Like I think it'd be really hard for someone who didn't know to like understand. So you remember that conversation they had about the cake, right?
Sorta in like
yeah, that was them talking about Ariel going to the secession like race. Like he was like because Grabble was like I can't remember the exact words. He's like I had heard rumors that Ariel and Philemon are like whispering like don't forget about our meeting later. So that's because Philemon is the leader of her faction.
No, that's what I thought.
I think we'll get more information on this later. I think they were just kind of pressed for time, and so they kind of had to cut some of the stuff down. I still thought the way they handled the conversation was extremely interesting, and I honestly enjoyed it more than in the light novel or the manga. I'd have to look back in the light novel to see how they translated it. But I was like, it'd also be really easy to get lost not knowing what it is. So he's like, so Grabble's like, oh, I heard recently you got a taste for this cake, right? And that's him talking like, I've heard rumors that you've been getting into the race to be the next king or the next queen or the next ruler.
That conversation did sound pretty fishy.
And she's like, oh no, I couldn't have. That cake is too sweet for me. Just her being like, oh no, that doesn't fit me, that doesn't suit me. And then Grabble looks at Philemon and is like, you've always been the type of guy to wait until the last second and have that berry stolen by whoever you hate most. Which
That's
is
what I mean.
Like you always wait to declare who you're going for. Like you're a little weasel who never really chooses a side until just whoever wins you go with. He said, you're an adult, you should at least choose to whom you give the berry to.
Because that was was in the ballroom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, where the conversation, it's one of those uncomfortable situations where it's like when people are like, they're trying to talk about something that like they don't want to make it obvious to like other people, but like they know what they're talking about. Like that's what it felt like.
That's what I thought was genius. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is like totally how that would like happen, just like they're in the middle of a party, they wouldn't just objectively talk about secession. I was like, but in something like this, like they all understand it. Like, because like I understood it, like I knew what the conversation was, and I understood it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is genius. I was like, but also like, it'd be really confusing for people outside the circle.
I'm not gonna go to lengths to call it like a genius move. But, like I thought it was a neat inclusion, not neat, somewhere in between neat and like peak-ino, I guess is where I'd say it. Like it was a good idea. It was a really good idea to implement.
I really like it, but like also like I can understand like that was probably very confusing for people who didn't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought it was. Where we like there has already been tension building up between like the siblings and all that, and then seeing them talk about something like that's like there's something. Methinks perchance something is afoot.
Yeah. I'll have to see how that was translated in light. I don't think it was worded like that. I was like that's very interesting. And I enjoyed
character interactions in this show. They do it whenever characters have beef with each other. They do a great job of characters like talking to each other rather than like duking it out. Because a lot of shows like I hate you and they fight. In this show, it's like, can you string your words together in a clever enough way or in like a well-spoken enough way to get your point across? Or like, just how characters talk to each other, how they communicate. I find that to be a very strong aspect of the show, and I liked it in that scene too, where they're at a party and they're just talking about that stuff. And that was I like that scene. And after that is when Sylphy's like, "Oh no, everyone's being mean to me." And then passes out.
And Ariel
he
sings.
Folded. at that.
Oh yeah, and then that whole conversation with the berry was why he was like, the only place for you in the public eye is singing, because he's like, don't try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where after
then she does sing, and then yeah.
Yeah, because Sylphie bumps into someone, and then Ariel like just starts singing and draws in all the attention, and then makes a toast. And that's when Darius is like, "Ha ha, you should only sing, woman," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or was that earlier? Before
that
she
was
started
earlier.
singing.
That was graphic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of their little berry cake conversation.
So she basically does it to try to be like, "Look, brother, I am singing. What more do you want from me? I'm not trying to plan to stab you in the back, haha." As she like holds a knife behind her back or something. Not literally, just more of like the funny analogy of like, "Brother, look, I'm singing just like you said I can only do." Like trying to play into it, and the brother's like, "Yeah, I'm not buying what you're selling."
Yeah. I have no money for your wares.
Yeah. After this, in the bedroom, Sylphie, what's it like? Did Sylphie wake up, or is she already like woken up and they're still like talking to her?
Nightmare.
Yeah, she has like a nightmare. She starts struggling, falling asleep, and then Luke picks up on that, and then I think I am looking at an article just to get my thoughts straightened out. It's like whenever Philemon starts talking with Ariel about like their plans, and that the only advantage that she really has over him is like how popular she is. Yeah. Because in every other category, she's basically outclassed. But she got the popularity of the people.
Which is pretty good. It's a pretty powerful position to be in.
Yeah. Because I mean, if something were to happen and you played your cards right, like that is, you have the masses at your side right there.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then we get the little scene, I believe it's here, with Darius and Grable in like the little opera playhouse, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think of this scene? I mean, it's just basically.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
It's just basically like, them being like, oh, Ariel's not planning a coup, but she's definitely gaining power, and she has power among the people. And Darius is like, well, what do you want me to do? And Grable's like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, I think the best thing to do would be to kill her. Grable's like, okay, do it.
I mean, like, I really don't have too much to say. The only funny thing, or the one funny thing I want to bring up in this article is, or like in the episode, highlighted in this article, is it's talking, there's just a line that says Darius has a woman on his lap the whole time.
He does indeed.
That was just funny to me. I mean, I don't see it being any different than other scenes in shows where they're like trying to throw a coup or like an assassination. Like it was a typical two rich politicians are saying, maybe we should paint her out of the picture. Like kind of scene like that.
Yeah.
Nothing, no real meat to chew on there. Just kind of like the basic fat of like it's getting from point A to point B of like, yeah, we gotta kill her. Yeah. And so they set it up, and then okay, this scene, I have words on this upcoming scene where because there's no fucking way, right? So prior Ariel's like, oh, you have nightmares, you should come sleep in my royal chambers to like, I'll sleep with you. And then Ariel, in the article, it says Sylphie is quote unquote teased. Right? No, teased is not the right word. She was like,
teased. That word does work.
She mounts Sylphie and like pins her down. And don't you dare! She like climbs on top of Sylphie and is fully like, on top of her, getting ready to like kiss her. And Sylphie's like freaking out. She gets up. She's like, "No, I'm just kidding." Like, no, you're not. You're a lesbian if you do that. Like, you don't go to that extent of that'd be like two guys trying to play a bit.
Kyle.
That'd be like two guys trying to play a bit with each other, and one of them like strips the other one down, puts him on the bed, and starts like almost kissing. Like, oh, bro, I'm just kidding, bro. And just gets up. Like, no, you don't get to do that and pretend to be normal. You don't get to do what you do. Ariel doesn't get to do what she did and be like, oh, I'm normal. Well, I'm just kidding. I don't have feelings for you, Sylphie Lamau. Like, no, you just don't get to do that. Kyle. I just thought it was really funny how Brandon and other places are like, oh, the historian joke of looking back in time, they were just friends.
Look, Kyle, buddy, Kyle, pal. Can I call you Kyle? Can I call you Kyle?
Look, listen. Yeah, you can.
Are you surprised that the woman who was talking about nipples at the beginning of the episode is a lesbian. She's bisexual, by the way. That's pretty canonical. I don't think that's a spoiler to say.
Yeah. I think I picked up on that. And maybe
so something that so funny Mushoku Tensei fan community, right? There were two main things that I think a lot of people talked about for this episode in terms of like, for the most part, everyone really liked it, right? Because everyone was like, yeah, no, this is a really great episode. There were two things. One was the thing of Darius, where people were like, we kind of wish he got more screen time. I tend to agree, but like I said, I think we're going to get to see this scene later more expanded upon, right? The second thing was people think they toned down how much of an absolute perverts the Asura nobility are, including Ariel and Luke.
Dude, they should have like fully committed. That would have been funny.
Like there is, like canonically, all the Asura nobles are huge perverts. I think that makes sense. I mean, you look at, like in a lot of places high up in society, in real life and in,
commentary,
it's,
symbolism.
That's going to be the case. And, it's also funny because then you look at Paul, who is one, and like, yeah. And you look at Rudeus, who would technically be the heir to the Nodos family, and you're like, yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it like this. Like the third, it's like food, sex, and sleep, and like with the nobles, they don't really have to work. They just kind of indulge. Like they can eat whatever, they can sleep however, and they just do sex whatever. Like they don't have enough time to divert to other activities. For the most part, I don't know what they do. Like I'm just not meeting them, and so it's like, okay, yeah, we have like the three basics of food, sex, sleep that we're just going to indulge in, and that's kind of what these people are reminding me of. Like Ariel, I could see now when you say she's cut back, like I get it, but like still,
like I said, I
get to go that direction and then be like, hi, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
I was totally satisfied with how they portrayed it. I think. I mean, obviously, you could always do more, but I mean, I definitely think they got the point across.
Yeah. No, Brandon, they did not just get the point across. Okay, they hit the nail on the head with a 100-ton hammer.
So I watched this episode again today with one of my other friends, who had seen season 1. He saw it further away, so I kind of had to re-explain some things. But we got to this scene. I was dreading it the entire time. When we got to this scene, and he just kind of looked at me. He's like, "Is there something I need to know?" I'm like, "There really isn't. There really isn't." And it just watching information will be revealed.
It's Mushoku Tensei. I mean, that's like walking into a gunfight without a gun and being upset when you get shot. It's like, what do you expect? It's Mushoku Tensei.
He was like that elf is a girl, right? And I'm like, yeah.
That little girl's a child. Like the
To be fair, he did not ask that question.
Yeah, congrats. One person didn't question this very questionable show.
I'm so thrilled.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, after this scene, isn't this where they shoo me? They go to sleep, right?
Yeah, they do go to sleep. Ariel tells Sylphy, like, I have a dream, like I want to be.
You may go to.
I have nightmares of that day too. That monster came out of nowhere, killed Darius, and you saved me. She's like, I have nightmares too. And it's like, oh, that's nice. It's her being genuine, and then they me, they
do that. And then later, we see they go to sleep. Sylphy's awake, and she's awake and is able to react to the assassin that Darius sent. It was oh shit, yeah, no, sorry, the article said that was just the woman on Darius's lap. Dude, that line in this article saying that it was the woman on Darius's lap, that was important.
Yeah.
They fight for a bit. The assassin cuts Sylphy with like a poison dagger, but like Sylphy just absolutely knocks the fuck out of her with like wind magic and launches her out the window, and she falls to her death.
Rip Bozo.
And then after that, we see Sylphy's alive. She's recovering from all that. Lord Philemon suggests that they leave the country, and she's like, "Oh, well, you should leave and pretend like you're studying, or like you should go study, and like we can plan out this coup later."
Magic University? What? School
art? Ariel is gonna go. Luke says to go with her, and then Ariel's released from her service.
That's so true.
The article has a typo. Yeah, so it's like they're like, "Okay, Sylphy, you're free now. That is up. You can like be your own person now." And Sylphy's like, "No, we've been together for so long. I mean, historians have to look at us as more than just friends, right? I have to accompany you now.
That's so true.
And then she decides to go to the Magic Kingdom. So Ariel, Fitz, and Luke all set out, and yeah, that's it. And we are moving on to, I assume, Rudeus next episode.
Episode 1, The Broken-Hearted Mage. Who could that be referring to?
This was a good episode to get us back into the series. It's interesting because it's 17 episode 0. It's getting us ready, but like it's still like, oh man, where's Rudeus? You know, it's leaving us wanting a little bit more in that regard.
Yeah, no, I mean this is an episode that this was covered in extra chapters in the light novel, throughout the content of season 1 in the light novel and in the manga. We were following the Sylphy. And kind of that thing. So this is an episode that they could have thrown in season 1, but throwing it before season 2, I mean, I think it makes sense.
I think it's a nice little gap between.
Yeah, it's kind of like okay, like this is what Sylphy's been getting up to, and now you know, and now they're heading to school. What school arc?
Brandon, you're hyping
almost
up
like we saw them.
You are hyping up the school arc.
It's just school arc. I don't know what to tell you. It's not even school arc with the episode 1 isn't even going to be.
Rudeus better fall through at least 18 layers of.
Dude, you don't understand, bro. He falls through at least 18 schools and loses a hand.
And loses an arm and a leg, Kyle. It's peak fiction.
And everyone around him dies.
Will we explain the inside joke? Maybe.
No,
eventually.
Maybe.
Definitely not now.
Definitely not now. Absolutely not now.
No.
It's a good little reintroduction. I, resident Mushoku Tensei fan, quite enjoyed this episode.
Biased peak. I mean, I'm just frustrating.
Raw, fire, Kino, peak fiction.
As a fan of Mushoku Tensei, who wouldn't, look, you don't need to get a crowbar to dislodge my mouth from Mushoku Tensei's girthy content, right?
Bro, Goku could not dislodge my mouth from it. I'll be real with you, Kyle. I'll be real with you.
I like looking at it from like a fair, I'd like to believe it's from like a fair perspective. This was a good start to season 2. And I'm excited to see more of what's to come from the show. I really hope to see Rudeus get up to some magic nonsense at the school, and I hope that Turning Point 3 is just absolutely cataclysmic and that everyone gets unanimously fucked over. That'd be really funny. For now, I assume we're gonna get a little bit of Rudeus traveling a bit, and then he's gonna be like, damn, this world's kicking my ass. I gotta go to school. I gotta learn. I gotta get stronger. And he's like, oh, hey, a magic school. Oh, hey, Sylphy's here. Oh, hey, this dude named Cliff, who's definitely my rival's here. Yeah, I cannot wait for that.
I can't wait either. School arc. I quite like school arc.
School arc? Cool arc.
I will say I'm very much looking forward to Volume 7 content. I've only read through Volume 7 once. It's not in the light novel. It's kind of covered in a flashback in the manga. Like I am not as familiar with Volume 7 content as other volumes.
That's crazy.
So I'm looking forward to redigesting it all.
Yeah. I'm excited too, dude. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fun. So if you're this far in the video, obviously there's some you like. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us what you're looking forward to most in this season of Mushoku Tensei. Thank you all for watching. We hope you all enjoyed this video, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.